Hi Technical Comprehension, this is your Mastery Skills video, one of the last Mastery Skills videos that I will be uploading because this is going to be over combined skills. So I'm going to go ahead and get into Mastery Skills. You can see at this point, the first three we had mostly talked about before spring break, so that's why you're not seeing videos for them, because we talked about them in class and I helped some of you in person. The rest of these are ones that we talked about mostly right before spring break and then after we transitioned to online courses for the rest of the semester. So that's why you're seeing videos for a lot of those. So we are going into combined skills, and I'm going to do the post-test 2. As I was looking at the different post-test 1 just had some really oddities about it, and so we're going to use post-test 2. So going into post-test 2 here. And now recall the name is combined skills. That's why you're going to see a little bit of everything in here. So it's not going to be focusing on just one skill in particular. So here's our first paragraph, and we're going to use this paragraph for several questions. Paragraph 1. The oldest and most basic way of living is hunting and gathering, the use of simple tools to hunt animals and gather vegetation for food. From the time of our earliest human ancestors 3 million years ago until about 1800, most people in the world lived as hunters and gatherers. Today, however, this technology supports only a few societies, including the Kaska Indians of northwestern Canada, the Pygmies of Central Africa, the Bushmen of southwestern Africa, the Aborigines of Australia, and the Semai of Malaysia. Typically, hunters and gatherers spend most of their time searching for game and edible plants. Their societies are small, generally with several dozen people living in a nomadic, family-like group, moving on as they use up an area's vegetation or follow migratory animals. Okay, so hopefully as I read, both based on the fact that it's in bold and they use kind of the phrase hunters and gatherers, hunting and gathering, here we go, hunters and gatherers again, that the topic is in fact hunting and gathering. So they're talking about hunters and gatherers and just the basic concept of hunting and gathering, and that's what a topic is. It's that who or what, and it's repeated or referred to over and over. So looking then at question 2, it's based on the same paragraph. What's the main idea? So we know our topic is hunters and gatherers, or hunting and gathering. So that has to appear in our main idea somewhere. The last sentence there, it looks great, right? Because it has our cheat word many. There are many societies today that hunt and gather, except that's not true at all. So it says in here that, this is not really happening on only a few societies, so that's just plain not correct. This is a detail, and so is this. This sentence right here is basically just kind of a restatement of what's going on up here. Actually, no, it's word for word. There you go. It is word for word, the first sentence of the paragraph, and it just introduces the concept of hunting and gathering so that it's telling us kind of what we're going to be reading about and the basic gist of what hunting and gathering is. And if I said, okay, well, what do you mean by hunting and gathering? The rest of the paragraph tells me more details. So that is our best main idea there, that very first choice. Okay, still the same paragraph. Now they want to know what the word edible means. And this, I think we talked about this word before in class. Typically, hunters and gatherers spend most of their time searching for game and edible plants. We're talking about people who are hunting and gathering. If they're looking for plants because that's their job to gather, these are obviously plants then that can be eaten. You can eat something that is edible. All right, question 4, the next couple questions will be based on this new paragraph here. Athletes who are training for a special event or competition will often overtrain, which results in injuries or exhaustion. Overtraining means that they train longer and harder than they should. Hopefully you pay attention to this. This sentence is based on defining. Overtraining means. Question 3, or sentence 3 rather, this often leads to a tired feeling with a lack of energy. Again, look at these signal words they're using. Leads to, that's a cause-effect relationship there. See how our patterns of organization are popping up from a couple of chapters ago? 4, the athlete's performance may begin to decrease. He or she may also become sick due to a weakened immune system from overtraining. Physically overtraining can cause mild aches and pains in the muscles and joints. The body needs rest to recover after intense training. Exercising to the point of overtraining can bring on more injuries and physical and mental fatigue. All right, so what is the implied main idea? So hopefully you can throw out this first option right away, because in a main idea, whether it's directly stated or implied, is always a complete sentence. This is more our topic. Overtraining is the topic. It is not the main idea. But we do know we're talking about overtraining. They don't even mention that down here. They talk about intense training. They don't talk about overtraining. Now, it can result in injuries and illness for sure. That seems pretty good. Overtraining means they train longer and harder than they should. That also looks kind of good. So we kind of look to see, what is the most general. Now, here's our clue though, implied. So already it's telling us the main idea is not directly stated in there. This sentence is stated word for word. Therefore, here is our answer. Overtraining can result in injuries and illness. How can it result in that? Well, it tells us that in sentences basically 3 through 8, how it can result. So that is our answer for question 4. Question 5, same paragraph. Now we're looking at this particular sentence. It's kind of defining here, means, but that's not one of our options. This often leads to, I mentioned that when I read it, leads to, that is a cause-effect relationship. Something that is leading to, that's cause-effect. Okay. Number 6, again, same paragraph. What conclusions, so we're talking about drawing conclusions, can be drawn from this paragraph? So which one has the most support here? As I'm looking at these options, and if you look over these, there's an issue with this one. Athletes who overtrain will always lose in competition. That's an absolute, you can't say something like that unless you have proof. The word always is an issue there. That throws that out. Same thing kind of like this. Impossible, they don't say that. So both of those kind of present situations that they don't provide proof for. So those are not great conclusions. So we're looking again up here now. Strong immune system is important for fighting off illness. Overtraining can cause broken blood vessels in the brain. Well, there is some support for this first one, talking about strong immune systems. They do talk about up here, if they become sick due to a weakened immune system. So it's basically saying we need our immune system to fight off illness, which we know already, but they imply that up there. All right, question 7. I believe the rest of these are based off this paragraph here. Stretching is an important warm-up for exercising, but stretching incorrectly can cause injuries. Apparently, we're very concerned about people getting injured here. There are several steps that you can take to avoid muscle injuries when stretching. First, hopefully that threw up a flag, right? We're seeing some signal words. First. Third. So we're kind of looking at these. Don't hold your breath, but just breathe as you would normally. Your body needs oxygen during exercise. Second, do not stretch muscles that are already stretched, and don't stretch to the point that causes pain. Whenever you stretch, avoid making unnatural movements at the joints because this could cause injury to the ligaments at the joint. Third, if you have someone helping you, be sure to communicate how far you want to stretch. Fourth, avoid extending or flexing the spine forcefully. Always move carefully and stretch to the limits of your range of motion without causing pain. As you continue to practice, your flexibility and range of motion will increase. All right, so question 7 is wanting to know what is not a logical conclusion based on the paragraph. So that means 3 of them are okay. 3 of them we can, in fact, make a conclusion based off of. The others we don't have any proof of. This first one is a pretty safe conclusion. If we don't warm up properly, we can be injured. And that's basically what that is saying in that whole paragraph. Again, injuries to ligaments, they do mention that, can result from improper stretching. Stretching properly can help improve flexibility. Breathing deeply during stretching will improve your range of motion and flexibility. Now, that one sticks out because they don't necessarily talk about that. They don't talk about how breathing deeply can improve that. So we can't really go back into the paragraph and support that particular conclusion. So that's our answer. All right, same paragraph, question 8. What is the overall pattern of organization? Hopefully, again, I pointed it out to you if they're not sticking out to you already. First, second, third, fourth, they are listing. They are listing the steps. They're going through the steps of this process. That is a list. All right, question 9. According to the paragraph, why should you avoid making unnatural movements as you stretch? So, talks about that right here. Avoid making those unnatural movements, and basically because it's going to cause you injury to the ligaments. That's what it says there. And question 10, what do we think the purpose and tone is of this passage? So I don't know about you. I mean, it was an okay paragraph, but it wasn't necessarily entertaining. We are definitely being informed a little bit about stretching, but I don't feel like it's like critical by any means. It's not like judging us for stretching or anything like that. And it's not necessarily, again, I'm hesitant to say inform because it doesn't really give a lot of data or facts or anything like that, but I do feel like they're trying to persuade me a little bit. Stretching isn't important. There are several steps, and it's kind of telling us what to do, so it's trying to convince us to stretch. And they talk a lot about injuries, so it's almost like cautious in nature, like please stretch or you're going to tear all your bones. I don't know. So that's why it's more persuasive and the tone is cautious. Okay, so that is, I know this is a little longer than a lot of your mastery skills, but because it was combined skills, it went through a lot of different skills. So I hope these have been helpful in you finishing these up, and we'll talk to you in a future video.